Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of hashtag Wat gaan ons doen. I was not going to do a video or comment or do a posting on Charlie Kirk, the American conservative, what do you call him, commentator. I was not going to do a video or anything on that. I did comment here and there because the stuff that was coming out was it was challenging. Now, first off, I think it's important to just highlight what a tragedy it is for someone to lose his life, irrespective what political affiliation someone has, what sexual orientation they are, what church they belong to. No one deserves any unaliving for whatever reason, because we're human beings, and human beings they will perish naturally, or we should. So to have this happen to anyone, and in this violent manner, is just completely unacceptable. The thing that I want to just touch on briefly is how some of my church people, and I use that word deliberately, because the main focus of the comments that I've seen was about what a wonderful Christian Charlie Kirk was. He stood out for his faith. Now I have a problem between religion and faith, because Mr. Kirk, no, before I get there, let me conclude this. The comments made speaks about how this man stood out for, and he proclaimed his Christianity. His stance was firm in his Christianity. Everywhere he went, he proclaimed he stood as a Christian. Where he spoke, how he engaged, it was all about being a Christian. I'm now paraphrasing from the comments that I've seen, how he stood on his faith, basically. So a big Christian person was killed. That's the takeaway for me. Where it becomes challenging is, I don't think many of these people have seen Charlie Kirk in action. I don't think many of these people have actually gone and listened to what Charlie Kirk actually did. I have been watching YouTube videos and debates, let's call it debates, that he had over the last number of years. I've watched them because I've always been interested in what these people, and I call it these people, their basis is, how they get to be the people they are. Now it's clear that Charlie was highly funded. He was funded significantly. That's why he could travel the world, to Oxford and to across the world, to have debates, because he will say, "Come debate me. I'm the greatest debater there is." And apparently, as I said, he was very much religion driven. Now, I'm convinced that a lot of, just like with COVID, we now have Charlie Kirk experts. So everybody that's now just seen a meme or a drivel by someone on the far right has now gotten on the bandwagon. Charlie Kirk is the greatest thing since, the great man himself. And he now all of a sudden is compared to MLK Jr., which is sickening to my stomach. But that being said, Charlie Kirk was a deep, deep racist. He was a bigot. He didn't see women to be of equal stature. Charlie Kirk thought that the civil rights movement or the passing of civil rights laws was a mistake in America. He saw black women as not being intellectually equal or capable of achieving greatness because they achieved whatever they achieved in the US because of DI or BE in our terms of affirmative action. So you see, just on that, and I'm not even getting into his because all of what he stood for was, according to him, was Bible based. And if you go and watch his debates, Charlie had a very, very distinct manner of interpreting the Bible. And that formed his far-right, white supremacist, Christian nationalist ideology. So Charlie was a very dangerous man. And in the world of the US and in South Africa, where we have this Christian nationalism, and I use that word because my church people like to be in that space. They like to be in that space. They don't say it, but they are very much bigoted. Gays are okay as long as we don't have to see them. We will pray for them. We will convert them. We have to accept them into our churches, but they mustn't come close to us. Black people are there and they're wonderful, but they're still not white. Because the Bible says so. Slavery wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad. Racism, what's racism between a couple of chummies? That was Charlie Kirk, and that is my people, my South Africans, my church people. Because you see, I actually listen and I read and I see the postings. And then I ask myself the question, did you just post this because this man said Jesus, Jesus, Jesus? I saw someone yesterday post something about Donald Trump, the greatest racist idiot in the history of the world. Because he was at a function and he said something to the effect of, and may God be with you. And then there were kids there and he was fastening his jacket because he thought they wanted to take a photo. And then the person with him told him, no, they actually want to pray for you. No, I thought they would want a photo. This fool doesn't even think prayer because he's never been, but because it's Jesus, 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 now all the Christians, they now get all excited because Donald Trump used the word God and Jesus. Christian nationalism is an extremely, extremely dangerous situation in the world today. And we see it and we experience this hatred that exists in the church because people, they just cannot see other human beings as human beings. We have a genocide and atrocities happening in Gaza, and they are saying white and Christian, and look, let's leave the white out here. The Christian nationalists that exist in my space and all over this world are saying, no, but Israel, despite this place, this Zionist evil place, are genociding a people, we cannot see the genocide because the word Israel is included. I am challenged with exactly how the colonial project is working today. It exists on such deep levels because the colonial project has taught us that we dare not challenge. Despite how the world and Jesus has actually brought this world here through the final covenant. So yeah, my Jesus people, I'm saying it again and I'll say it every day. Challenge your minister to ask him or her about Palestine. No, don't ask them about Palestine. Ask them about the genocide happening. Are they condoning this? Or are they calling out Israel, the state, the Zionist state of Israel, for causing a genocide to the Palestinian people? Ask your minister. Ask your church leaders. Ask your pastors, your bishops, your al die terminology wat daar is. Go about and just ask them what their stance is on a genocide happening right now in the world. Ask them what their thoughts are actually about Charlie Kirk, the white supremacist, Christian nationalist bigot that was so offended by black people, by normal people that didn't look like him. They didn't have his thinking, because Charlie he might have been an intelligent man, probably, I don't know, because he never went to university or college in the US. He might have been. I'm not judging the guy. I am judging his words. Because, Charlie was all about supremacy. South Africans, we know supremacy. South Africans, we've lived through it. Nobody can tell us about racism. Nobody can tell us about oppression. So we see the Palestinian situation, and we that live it, that lived it, that understand it, we know oppression when we see it. We know apartheid that when we see it. And Charlie and his ilk and my church people that are now all for Jesus, 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 clearly have missed something somewhere, because we are now not saying sorry for a man that was killed. We are now elevating this racist bigot and want him to equate him to Martin Luther King Jr.? Hell no. Go and do your homework. You that are now so a Charlie Kirk expert, go and watch the videos. Go and listen to what he actually said about you, about church people, supposedly. Do your homework. Don't take the sound bites. Go and read. Go and listen. Watch the full video. Not only the sound bite. Watch the full video. Listen to what this guy said. Go into his podcast and go and listen to what he spoke about. Not the selective ones, because everybody can have a good speech one day. Hitler was also a church person. So much so that the Catholic Church celebrated Hitler's birthday, because Hitler was also a Christian, a church person. So before you Jesus, 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 just go and check who these people are. Charlie Kirk left behind a wife and 2 small children. I mourn those kids because they will grow up without their father. But you know, on the same day, earlier that day, a few children lost their lives in a school shooting. Nobody knows their names. Nobody's spoken about them. But we spoke about, and we keep on speaking about, a man that has caused a lot of harm to the world. A man that has brought division, deliberate division, and was paid handsomely for it. A man that was living it up with some of the most evil people in the world today. So, yeah, my Jesus people, check yourself. Go and do some homework. Listen. Because when somebody just screams Jesus, 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 it doesn't mean squat if their names are Adolf Hitler, Donald Trump, or even Charlie Kirk. Have a good day. Have a beautiful and blessed week. Cheers.